This video is brought to you by Final One Standing, football's ultimate free-to-play eliminator game. Some of you are still going strong, alive and kicking in the original 500k game, but I got myself booted out, knocked out, because Wolves lost at home to Leeds many weeks ago. Larson and Hee-Chan did not even start that game. But I'm going again, and it's personal this time. As you know, I'm part of the panel. I am going into the new game, Beat Robbie Lee. All you've got to do is stay in the game longer than Robbie to win your share of £50,000. Now, some saying it's very easy, but for me, I need Robbie to stay in a little bit longer than most. Then when we do the split, we get to take home just a little bit more. I've said to him already, his reputation is on the line. He's been talking tough, so it's time to humble him. And of course, if you are still part of any other games, you can play this alongside it. The game remains the same. As always, you pick a Premier League team each game week. If they win, you're through. If they lose or draw, you're out. Business as usual. If you fancy your chances, make sure you download the William Hill app, scan the QR code, or click the link in the description to enter the Beat Robbie game. You've got until the 22nd of November, 3 p.m. deadline, and you've got all of the international break to take your time and decide on that pick. Remember, it's 18 plus and UK and Ireland only. Please make sure you gamble aware, gamble responsibly. Terms and conditions do apply, all linked down in the description. We're back. Hey, we're back. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. You like my hat? Or do you like my hat? Listen, I am buzzing to be back, people. It has been such a long time. It has been such a long time since we spoke. Oh my goodness. This is my hat from Mexico. I actually got it purely just so you guys could see it. We're going to talk Mexico. We're going to talk Parma. We're going to talk Estevao. Yes, I saw how he was playing midweek during the international breaks. We're going to talk Badiashile. We're going to talk Chelsea. We have not spoken about Chelsea for weeks. For weeks. I miss it, man. Even towards the end of my holiday, I was starting to lose my head because I was talking too much about football. I was reading in the tweets. I was looking for all the information. The loophole is closed. There's so much to get into. I cannot wait. But yeah, I hope you like my hat because this is now another prop. You know, I like collecting all these random things that we just know. We don't know when this is going to get used, but it's quite eccentric. But yeah, listen, I had to cop it. I had to cop it for you guys just in case. But wow, we got a lot to discuss. We got a lot to discuss. Yeah, Mystic Mal, all those things there. Listen, I'll go through all the questions in a minute. Do not worry. I see a couple questions already in the chat. But how is everybody, first of all? How is everybody? I was even thinking of wearing the shades in this, but I'll keep it clear. I'll keep it clear so I can see the chat. I'm pumped. I'm pumped, man. I'm pumped to be back. I'm well rested. I'm excited. We got the watch along tomorrow, 11:30 start, Burnley away. International break, 12:30 kickoff, away from home. It might be snowing, it might be windy, it might be raining. I don't know, but I don't care. I'm just excited to be back. Well rested, like I said. Lovely holiday. I learned a lot. Beautiful country. If there's any Mexicans in the chat, there's probably not. If you've been to Mexico, I've got a couple of questions, you know. I've got a couple of questions before we get started. Because now that I've gone there and I've experienced the beautiful country itself, I've got a couple of questions. So, first of all, what a place, yeah? The hospitality, crazy hospitality. Like, the love that they show you, the hospitality is nuts. They do this a lot, and when they greet you, they kind of press. I find that very endearing. That's very touching. It's very nice to see. I'm not gonna lie, it's very endearing. In London, I'm sure you guys know, if you're in London, you don't really talk to people. You don't talk to strangers, stranger danger and all that. You just keep it stepping. So when you go to these countries and you see just the different way of going about things, the culture, it's absolutely eye-opening. It's mad. I learned what a Mexican minute is. Apparently a Mexican minute is not a minute, chat. It's not a minute. It's not 60 seconds. A Mexican minute is an hour. It's an hour. It's a long time. So I learned a lot there. I don't want to rat anyone out, but pharmacia, I believe they call it a pharmacia. It's the pharmacy. There's a lot of them. I don't know if that's a legit business. I don't know if you guys know what I mean by when I say that, but there's a lot of pharmacias. There's pharmacias that are right next to other pharmacias. There's pharmacias opposite pharmacias. There's not a need for this many pharmacies. It tells me that something dodgy is going on. But again, I'm not a snake. I'm not a rat. I'm just asking the questions that need to be asked. I was walking down the road, guys. There was a pharmacy on my left. There was a pharmacy on my right. Same company, same pharmacia, exactly the same pharmacia. There is no need for the pharmacias to be this close. And I do not need this much paracetamol, chat. I was like, yo, it's like the barbers in London. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, how are you all making money? How are you all making any money, any profit margins? There's no way. There's absolutely no way you guys are in profit because you're literally competing with the store across the street. I was actually counting pharmacias at the end of the trip. I was actually just counting them because I found it so entertaining. Another question, again, not trying to rat anyone out. There are these ladies that stand on the side of the road and they ask you if you want a massage. Now, I didn't get one because thankfully there was spas and massages in the hotel. But I have to ask, is that a massage that you're going to give or where are we going with this? Where are we going with this? I have to ask the questions because I am going to go back. But I do want to make sure that I have these answered. These questions I have asked, I need to have them answered because, hey, brother, it's just, you want a massage? You want a massage? I said, hey, hey, what's going on here? What's going on here? I'm a little confused. These are just questions. It's the first time I've been to Mexico, I've got questions. And the last thing that was always being asked on the roads was tequila. You want tequila? Tequila. Nah, we know what that is. We know what tequila is. I don't have any questions about that. But I did obviously go and actually get an understanding of what tequila actually is meant to be. And what we're getting over here apparently is not the real stuff. So I had 100% tequila and it doesn't give you a hangover, all these things. So I was learning a lot. And I have to go back because there's still stuff I want to do. I didn't get to visit the pyramids. I didn't get to visit the lagoons. I didn't get to visit the other archaeological structures and whatnot. But I did enough, I think. I'm satisfied. I'm very happy. People are saying there's endings. Do not get a massage. Okay, thank you for letting me know. Because it was spooky hours out there at times when I was coming across this question. But yeah, jet skiing. Wow, man. I was even chatting to Said about this because when he went to New York, he did jet skiing as well. And I turned up the power so high, guys. I've got a blister on this thumb purely because I was that invested into the jet skiing. I was going so fast. I was ready to lose my life out there on them oceans, bro. I was going for it. I was committing. You know, if you're going to go and you got no one on the back of your seat as well, so you're just out there on your solo, you got to go for it. You got to hit top speed. I feel like I don't know if that's the testosterone kicking in, but it feels like if I'm on one, I have to go to the top speed. I need to go dangerous. I need to go all the way to the limit just to see what happens. And then as long as I've realized that I can handle it, I'll crank it back down. And yeah, everything is a pleasure. It's a pleasure. And that's basically what I learned. A lot of other things as well, but those are the main things I wanted to bring back. So, right, let's get into things. We're back. Like I said, we're back. Very excited to be back. Very excited to talk about Chelsea. Palmer. I was so excited to see Palmer, man. And it's not really for Burnley, it's just for Barcelona and in for particular Arsenal. Because I feel like Barcelona, we're going to get the high line from Hansi Flick. We're going to get an opportunity to get him behind. So I'm not saying Palmer's not needed. Is needed every single game. But you can legislate and justify for Garnacho, Pedro Neto, counter-attacking, transitional wingers, and then you've only got one spot in the 10, and we've got João Pedro and we've got Estevao. So it's bearable. Arsenal, it's not bearable. It's annoying because Arsenal we're in striking distance. That's what I left you with at the end of the last international. Before we coming into the international break, I said we're in striking distance, guys, and we are. What are we, 6 points off? So we're in striking distance. You make up that 3-point deficit over the next 2 weeks, over the next 2 game weeks. One of the games we got to play them. You got an opportunity to take 3 points off them, and we're living. To a degree, we're living a different life, maybe. People are going to start calling our club out for races and titles and all these. But you'd rather be involved in these discussions than not. And that is the whole point of the season, is to be involved in the discussion. I don't want this season to just keep being inconsistent in terms of the results, but we know we're going to get top 4. I'll be real. I'm not fussed. I'm not worried, chat, about top 4. I've never been worried. I'm not even entertaining it. I'm not even computing it. I'm not even legislating, understanding, comprehending top four conversation. I'm not involved. You're not involved. We're bigger than that now, right? We got to put our big boy pants on. So we're not involved. But I don't want to just get through the season. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to just keep going, because right now we're in there. It's very tight, but I'm sure the table's going to separate itself out. I don't want to just be going along with the flow. Win a game here, win a game there, drop points where you shouldn't there, lose here, win there, draw. And it's just because right now there's a line, and everybody's just sitting on this line of, can we get excited or are we gonna bottle it? Or we're just kind of just on this line. We need to elevate. We need to be consistent. We need to win games consistently so we can actually have a true belief. I don't want to lie. I don't want to fake pump fake. I don't want to lie and say, oh yeah, we're involved, if I don't truly believe it. And the only way we can really truly believe we're involved is by winning football matches consistently and convincingly. So I'm looking forward to this period because truth be told, guys, we don't have another international break till March. So we've had 3 of them now. We've had a lot of international breaks. To be fair, you could make a case to say the last one was the best one by far. Probably the best international break there's been in years because of all the jeopardy. You had Ireland going through, last minute playoffs they got into, Scotland gone through, loads of jeopardy there. So there's, so it's been entertaining, but it's still not club football for me. It's still not Chelsea. So yeah, we got a long run of games in the winter period and we need to be consistent. We need to be on point because who knows where we'll end up? Do you know what I mean? Who knows where we'll end up? Happy birthday to you, Millie. Big up to you in the chat. Do I see no, I don't see a world where Palmer goes to United. Absolutely not. So Palmer's currently stubbed his toe. You hate to hear these things, He's in the comfort of his own home. He's probably going to the kitchen for a chippy chips, you know what I mean? He's just going about his way and he's stubbed his toe. It's mad. One little stub of the toe has just completely changed the perspective into what we're planning in the next couple of games. Because I think everybody's thinking about him coming back, right? And into the starting 11. Obviously, you got to drip feed him in 30 minutes off the bench. Even if he was getting 30 minutes off the bench against Arsenal, just having that weapon to say he's on the bench and he can come on last 30 and absolutely change the game. Not having that is mad. It's really peak, I can't lie. So for me, we need to start putting security guards, bodyguards, all sorts of people around him, outside his home, in his home. We need to be, these guys, they don't understand. I don't think these guys understand how important they are. You can't just be out here just stubbing toes. You're not a regular guy. You're not a regular dude. You know what I mean? Don't move. Stay in your chair. Someone else will get it for you. If you want a chippy chips, someone else will get it. You want to go up to the toilet? Don't worry, we'll bring the toilet down to you. Piss in your living room, bruv. Don't move. Don't move. Because I think because when people get injured, people forget. People don't realize how good Palmer is. Like, he's ridiculous. He's actually ridiculous. We're not talking about a stats merchant for me. We're not talking about someone that's just about the GA. Whenever he was going through that rough patch or people start to compare him to Bruno Fernandes, no. This is a player that can pass the football. This is a player that can nutmeg someone when their legs aren't even open. This is a player that drops into different positions, on the flank, on the touchline, in the 10, in the half space, in the midfield. This is a guy that can even drift onto the left and whip in across. If you can get him and Estevao on the same pitch, if you can do that for me, please, our life will be so much different because you can't pick up both of them. I remember when we had Hazard, all those years, we never doubled up. We never gave him someone who's on his level from a playmaking, dribbling standpoint in the team at the same time. No one else was able to yin and yang on the right, like a Gareth Bale level player or someone like that. That space would have been far greater for Hazard to occupy and operate if he had that person on the other side. Now, it's different because Cole Palmer, you probably say his best position is on the right wing. Estevao, I definitely believe he should be playing on the right wing. But I do believe that these two can interchange between the 10 and between the right wing. Something that Pedro Neto can't do. And I've spoken about tactical versatility before, and I think we're going to need it probably more against Arsenal and Burnley than against Barca, because Barca, it feels like they'll just play their way, and like I said, that space is going to be there. I don't know if Arsenal are always going to afford us that space. You don't know what you're going to get with Arsenal. They might play well, they might play ugly, they're going to target set pieces, Gabriel's out, etc. But you just want to have that tactical versatility, that in-game versatility of Estevao and Palmer just interchanging constantly. Can't pick them up, don't know what to do. It makes things a lot more difficult for the opposition. So I think these coming games, we're going to get 2 wingers, guys, probably, unless Estevao starts. But, you know, I don't know. Speaking of the guy, because would I take Semenyo, 65 million? I think 65 million is as north as it can go for him. I'm not really thinking about it because we're not gonna go for him in January. I'm thinking about January. January, we need to look at a couple little adjustments. I think if we're gonna be involved in a title race, right? We need to be tweaking a couple things potentially. We need to sell some centre backs. I've said this before. Left wing, they've put their money into Garnacho, Gittins. They have to leave them for the season. You can't logically, realistically expect to see these two, one of them leave in January and another left winger come in. That's ludicrous. So that's why I'm not really thinking about Semenyo, because if we wanted Semenyo, we would have got him in the summer. We didn't, so we're not going to get him. If he's available in January, someone else will go and get him. I don't know how available he is. We have to look at centre back. And I still think we need to look at striker, but obviously we've got Amiga 3 coming through from Strasbourg, so that's one of the guys that will probably come in next season, and he'll be one of the options. So again, probably not going to get a striker in January. Estevao had an incredible international break, guys. And I know, listen, I like the conversation. I think it's a very good dialogue about whether he should be starting or whether he's being managed perfectly. I think both answers can be correct. The reason why I say that is I'm not saying he needs to start every single game. However, I would flip it and I would make him start the more difficult games and rest him in the other games like the Ajaxes, like the Paphos coming up, because I believe he is now one of our most important, if not our most important attacker. So, whilst Cole Palmer's injured. So you can still look after him. You just flip what games he plays in. And the reason why you do that is simply because points. We need points. Now, look, he's being managed perfectly in isolation. I agree. In isolation, when you look at Estevao, how he should be managed coming into this new league, how he should be managed coming into this club, no one was screaming patience more for Estevao than me. Calm it down. Keep it calm. The guy is young. He's just come from Brazil. He's learning the culture, learning the language, learning the league. I was screaming all that in the summer. But the kid told me, shut up. The kid told me, shush. The kid told me, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm that guy. I still want to look after him. However, he's demonstrating things that, what can we do? He's demonstrating behaviors where we can't really keep this kid under control for much longer. Especially when you don't have a Palmer on the right wing, when you don't have an Elise signing on the right wing, when you don't have the quality that keeps someone like Estevao on the bench. I don't think Pedro Neto's performances before the international break were good enough to keep Estevao on the bench. I also don't think we can afford, with the rest of the quality in the attack, to keep Estevao on the bench without risking dropping points. There's only so many games you can keep changing it in the second half, keep changing it in the last 30, the last 20, the last 15. At some point, and it has already cost us points, we can't keep dropping points. So it's really difficult because you don't want to, I agree, you don't want him to get injured. You don't want him to pick up injuries and you don't want him to be, kicked about. But again, the other side will say he's come from Brazil. There's not really many more leagues in the world. You're going to get kicked about. You're going to get physically, tested. You want to look after him, but at the same time, he's the best attacker on form. He's the best attacker when he steps onto the pitch. You want to get points. And I'm not saying he's in his prime, but he's Brazil's best attacker the last international break. That's ridiculous. You know how much I wanted Rodrigo. I still would have wanted Rodrigo and still do. I still rate him, but he's terrible. He's been terrible form right now. Vinny, he wanted a Ballon d'Or next to him. You know what I mean? Him and Real Madrid refused to turn up to the ceremony. He was a Ballon d'Or contender. This is who he's going up against, and he's the best attacker. I can't sit here and say Brazil's best attacker over Vinny on a penalty, Rodrigo taking a penalty. Then they try to take said pressure off of him after he's whipped it back where it came, into the far corner for his pen. Paqueta comes in, far more experienced, far more caps, far more stock in the game, blazes his off target, and I'm meant to be sitting here saying we can afford to not start this guy. Like I said, maybe he doesn't start Burnley. I'd completely understand that. I think we have to accept there's probably going to be a bit of rotation or some sort of change for Burnley because we've got South American players coming back. But I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you that I don't want to see him in that Barcelona starting 11. But you can say, okay, counter-attack, Garnacho, Neto. If you think I don't want to see him starting against Arsenal, you've lost your mind. You've lost your mind. He's got to start that game. You're going up against the best team in the league right now. You're going up against a team that you got to close in. Fine margins, guys, win these games. We haven't beaten Arsenal in like 5 years. At home. I'm trying to be reasonable. And I am going to try to continue to be as reasonable as I can be. But you know I'm also emotional. He has to play against Arsenal. If nothing more. Burnley, South America. Barca, tactics. Even though I still think Barcelona, he should probably start because he's the guy. And it's Barcelona. And it's Estevao versus Yamal. And it's the Champions League. So it's not the Premier League physicality. So you can make a case for him to start against Barca, to be honest. You want to see Estevao versus Yamal. Everybody's been talking about Yamal. I don't want to talk about Yamal. Estevao is Estevao. I always say that. I don't want to compare and contrast this early. I just want to leave him to do his thing. However, I wouldn't mind seeing the two, dance per se on the pitch. Cucurella to do one side on Yamal, and I'm not sure who will be left back for Barcelona. Is Balde back to defend against Estevao? Let me know in the chat. You want to see your best players play in the biggest games, is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? We've had to manage Reece James. We're continuing to have to manage Fofana. We have to manage Lavia. Whilst we're managing all of these quality players, it's costing us points. For me, how many more points would we have on the board if Fofana was fit and he was playing centre-back in games where Tossen's getting twisted inside out on the transition, or Chalobah's made a mistake, or whatever? How many more points would we have if Lavia was able to come on for Caicedo and give him an extra rest, or come on for Enzo to form that pivot to help us get a little bit of control? Whatever. We need our best players. So we're already managing quite a bit. Manage this one as well. Yeah, I get it. But at the same time, I need this guy to play now. I need this guy to play the biggest games, because I don't want to be leaving these games with regret. We've got big games, and I'm not turning my nose up to Burnley at all, right? Burnley's a massive game tomorrow. But I don't want to be coming off the back of Barca, Burnley, Arsenal with regrets. I don't want the team to have regrets. I don't want them to come off that pitch thinking, if we just done this, if we just done that. Leave it out on the line. Leave it out on the line. Chelsea never get to field their best team. You got Colwell out injured. Lavia is always injured. Fofana's always injured. Never get to field your best team. I'd love to see what the best team actually can do. So then we can start to fill in the gaps of what's missing and what's not. It's really hard to do that when you've got so many players that need managing. So I would love to see this guy start 2 out of the 3. I'm probably pushing it. But that's what I want. I'm being honest, because I can't in good confidence tell myself that Pedro Neto is definitely going to have the performance I need him to have in these games. I hope he does step up. I think Garnacho has had a good game against Wolves. Not going to take it too far. It's Wolves. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing if he can continue this form in the week coming up. But I know with Estevao, I can count on a certain level of quality that I can't count on anyone else out wide in terms of a certain level. And it's mad to say that, but that's the truth. When Estevao steps onto the pitch, I know what I'm getting. Super chat comes in from Assad. He says, that's Maresca for you. He rates Neto and Garnacho. I get why managers would rate Neto, or why a manager would use Neto. I rate the due diligence, the tracking back and all of that. However, I need quality. On the ball, I need more quality. In the final third, I need more quality. And you know what? I don't really care that statistically he looks to be doing better than ever before if he keeps this up. I'm only interested in pushing the limits. If you're going to cost 60 million squidinis. You got Quenda, who's been confirmed a couple of days ago, guys, that Quenda's going to be part of the first team next season. Already been confirmed. He's not going to go out on loan. And I've spoke about this weeks ago. He's not going to go out on loan again. He's going to be part of the first team. One of these wingers is in trouble. One of these wingers are in trouble. So there's no point gaslighting, telling poor Pedro Neto, just don't worry about it. Everything's going to be fine. Just keep doing what you're doing, darling. Everything's going to be okay. No, it's not. It's not going to be okay. Do you understand how many transfers we make a summer? Do you understand how many players we have out on loan? We don't even talk about Kendry Pires anymore. You're not okay. You're not going to be okay. So you have to play better. You have to. It's just the facts. I don't know who's going for Quenda. I don't really know how it works because obviously you've got Estevao, you've got Palmer in the 10, you've got João Pedro in the 10, Gittins, Garnacho. Maybe I'll do a poll. I don't really know who leaves for Quenda. I make an assumption someone has to leave. So I'm gonna ask you guys which winger you think it will be, actually, because I wanted to ask this whilst I was away. I'm trying to which winger leaves for Quenda as it stands. Let's just say as it stands. As it stands. Because it's mad that someone can already be confirmed that they'll be coming back into the first team already, considering it's not even Christmas. So I am surprised to hear that, to be honest. I am surprised to hear that. Obviously, he's a talent, but I wasn't expecting to hear that confirmed, that he would be, you know... Maybe it's all waffle, but that was the report. So I may as well ask the question. Who is it going to be that makes way? I think George... So George is already leaving. I don't really want to include George in this because I don't feel like that's making any sense. George is leaving anyway. George doesn't play wide for Chelsea anymore. I'm just going to put Estevao just purely just to close the poll, but we all know Estevao's not going anywhere. George is down as a striker in Maresca's head. He doesn't play him out wide. He doesn't play him on the wing. You know, George is a striker for Maresca, might play off the striker at best. But George's ball striking, George's ability to shoot on command, on demand, left foot, right foot, in and around the penalty box. He's not got blistering pace. He's not explosive. I don't think his dribbling, from what I can see, seems to be like touchline winger-esque. Seems to be more inside forward. So putting George there is pointless for me because George was meant to leave in the summer. He's meant to go to Fulham. And that was before Quenda was even coming back. So that just numerically doesn't make any sense. If you're looking at wing position, you've got two wingers in this team. You've got 4 spots. So that's Gittins, Garnacho, Neto, Estevao. You could make the case that Estevao goes into the 10, but you got Cole Palmer, and in my opinion, you got João Pedro. So you've already got 2 10s. And you got Kendry Pires, who's a 10. He's a 10, he's a 10, he's a 10. So you don't really have any space at 10. That's just clearing Buonanotte and cancelling the loan, moving on. So really, you gotta pick one of those wingers, and one of those wingers is Garnacho, Gittins, or Neto. So, you know, I know it's not comfortable, but that is the reality in my opinion. I'm not trying to create a false reality, but that's what I think it is. Yeah, Pires might not be coming to Chelsea next season. He might go on a loan, but I'm just saying if you have any stock in the kid, if you have any hope in the kid making it here, then you have to kind of put him down as a 10. You got to think about him as a 10. You got to leave a little bit of room for him. He's still very young, right? So maybe people are making their conclusions already about his first loan at Strasbourg. I wouldn't make that conclusion this early. I'd just leave him to it. Let's see how it goes for a couple more seasons. I think we signed the kid when he was like 16 or something. So he's still young. I just put Estevao on the list just because, bro. Not because he should be in the list, just because I needed to put someone on the list. Why he's got 6%? Probably rivals trying to get Estevao sold because they don't want to face him. I hear it. So yeah, crack on with the poll. As it stands, get your votes in. And let's see what that looks like. I think any of them positionally can go because Neto can play on the left. I've always said that Neto can play on the left. Garnacho is obviously a left and Gittins is a left. So you could sell anyone and keep anyone to accommodate for the right winger coming in, depending on what you want. But obviously 2 of them are very new, and one of them's been here for a season and a half. So yeah. All right, cool. So that's that. Let me go through the chat. Let's see. Quenda's same age as Estevao, 18 years, meaning they will not get back to 90 minutes, meaning Neto will play also on the right wing. You can't have 3 right wingers for me. You can't. That's overkill. We talk about healthy competition and unhealthy competition. If Quenda's going to come back to Chelsea, he still has to play football to develop. So have him as a backup to the right winger is fine. Have him as third choice is crazy. So for me, you want to have a winger that can play both sides. That's where Neto has an advantage, I think, because I think Neto is the only winger we have that I would have no problem with playing on the right or the left. I don't want to see Garnacho on the right. I don't want to see Gittins on the right. I don't want to see Estevao on the left. So we have only one winger, in my opinion, that can play dual flank. So for that reason, you create competition that way where, yeah, you can have Neto plus Quenda and Estevao because you can have Neto on the left, and then if you need to play him on the right, you can play him on the right. However, the speed at which Estevao is developing, I don't think we're going to be talking about Estevao next season as someone that can't play back-to-back games. I don't even think we're going to be talking about that for Estevao in January of 2026. I think the winter period, naturally Chelsea are going to rotate. Naturally Chelsea are going to have to put players in and out the team because there's just fixtures like that constantly. But after that, he's going to be starting, I think, week in, week out if he's playing the way he's playing, because you can't really shackle this kid for much longer. So next season, 26-27, Estevao's just Chelsea's right wing starter for me. He's what? Going to turn 19. When's Estevao going to turn 19, chat? He's going to turn 19 when? 19 is old enough to play week in, week out if you're that good, in my opinion. I've seen plenty of star boys do it. There's no reason why this one can't. So he'll be 19 in April. April the 24th, he'll turn 19. Next season, he'll be 19, turning 20. He starts every game. Every game outside of Carabao Cup, FA Cup, easy Champions League, he starts. If he's going to be the guy, which he looks like he is, he looks like, for me, I'd actually go as far to say he's the best bit of business Clear Lake Capital have done. He looks like the best bit of business Clear Lake Capital have done. Because that is the one piece of business they did not overpay. They did not get involved in any bidding wars, and they also did not panic and do this deal on the deadline day like they did with Palmer. Palmer was deadline day. So great signing, but how much planning was there? How much luck was there? It's difficult. I'd give more credit than luck, but at the same time, Estevao, there was no luck. Estevao, it was a great fee, and it was early, and it was before Real Madrid, and it was, they fought. It's great business, don't get me wrong, but I'm separating the top 3, Caicedo, Palmer, and Estevao. The only way to separate is to kind of go through what each deal was. And Palmer's deal was Joe Shields and Man City and The Link and Maresca and Delap and Elavia. So it's closer to home. Caicedo's was 115 million, so I'm not even going to input that in there. As much as he's worth every penny, I'm not going to put him in there. Estevao was in Brazil, in Palmeiras, and, you know what I mean, just, you fought off Barcelona's interest and Real Madrid's interest, and you got him early, and the fee's mad. And so for me, I'd say that one just about pips it. Just about maybe pips it. But yeah, it's a great deal. It's a great deal. And look, for me, I just don't think he's gonna be on the bench for much longer. So yeah, you gotta plan for a consistent starter, and then Quenda's backup for me on after that. But some people say Palmer, yeah, 45 million. How much was Estevao? I think Estevao was similar money, wasn't he? I can't remember how much he was. Let's see. Don't overplay Estevao. You did that with Palmer. Now he's in the sick bed. I don't think we overplayed Palmer. We had 1 game a week in his first season with Pochettino, so it's impossible to get overplayed. really, in a 1-game-a-week season. We played Carabao Cup final, we lost. He would not have played every game up until that final because we would have played some poor teams. He would have got rested. FA Cup, I can't remember who we went out to that season, the FA Cup. The following season, we had Conference League. He wouldn't have played the Conference League games. He would have played Premier League and important cup games. He didn't play Conference League till probably, what, semi-final? If that. I don't think we overplayed him. I think injuries happen. Not everybody gets injured because they got overplayed, just got injured. That's just it. But I don't think we've overplayed him. This is the season where we could have overplayed him. Like, you know, but I don't think we've overplayed him personally. He wasn't even in the I don't think he was even in the Conference League squad. I don't think he was even registered in the first phase, in the group phase. So yeah. All right, cool. Let's see. I've not been live that long, brother. Don't worry. I've not been that long live that long. Sources say I didn't want Estevao. I think when Estevao signed, I was pissed off. Absolutely, because it came at a time where we weren't doing well. We were like 12th in the league, and I actually remember what happened. I wanted players to come in January. I wanted like Garassi, players that would get us up the table because we were mid-table. If you remember the season under Poch, we were mid-table, 12th, 10th, up until April. Last 5 games, we managed to salvage it. This was nearly Chelsea having back-to-back seasons in no European football competition. So my priorities was not signing a 16-year-old from Brazil. I don't regret that. Now, is the kid incredible? Yes. Credit where it's due. But my priority as a fan, when you're 12th, is not, we need to get the 16-year-old Brazilian. My priority is, you need to go and get me someone who's going to come into this team and get me points now. Because right now, we are 12th. Thankfully, we salvaged it. Thankfully. But if we didn't, and we only just about salvaged what? We got Conference League football. We didn't even salvage Champions League, Europa League. We got Conference League football. So this is the level that Chelsea were. We set the most disgraceful defensive record in the history of Chelsea Premier League football since the early 90s under Pochettino. We lost to Liverpool against kids. Dan's and Patrick's and all these people we don't even know of. To this day, we don't know who these people are. My headspace was not 16-year-old Estevao. I'm sorry. Shoot me. I don't feel bad about it. I'll be real. Now, sometimes you're going to be wrong because sometimes they're going to get this kid and they're going to be incredible. However, when you've cried wolf 10 times, the 11th time we might not believe you. When you got Denzel Washington at Santos, when you got Datro Fofana in Turkey, you're gonna have question marks over signing more kids. You're going to, especially when you're 12. So context is everything. But I don't mind. I don't mind being wrong. I ain't got no problem with it. Call me out. You know what I mean? But you know, if we're 12th, I'm gonna move a certain way. I'm not gonna say sorry for that. I'll be real. If I catch this club 12th, on God, if I catch us 12th again, and all the heartache, heartbreak, ridicule, mockery that comes with that, to the point where we still don't have a sponsor. We still haven't recovered. I don't know why we don't have a sponsor, chat. They were saying that we were gonna get a shirt sponsor. Who was it meant to be? Who was we meant to get a sponsor? Who's meant to get a sponsor for who? Who's everybody was confirming a sponsor and I still don't see shit. Who was we meant to get a sponsor? Oh, yes, Oracle. I don't know what's going on. Again, this is what I'm talking about. You know, you can't have these type of seasons because look what is going on here. Where is this sponsor? Where is this sponsor, chat? Goddamn. Still waiting. Still waiting. I think I wanted Elise. I think I wanted Elise in at right wing. That was my target. And, you know, he's not turned out to be a bad player. So, you know what I mean? You win some, you lose some. But Elise, he's doing all right. He's doing all right. But we got taken to court, so it is what it is. All right, cool. So, let's see what's going on in the chat. Where we at? Oh, yes. No, it's got nothing to do with it. It's got nothing to do with on the pitch. That's why I've kind of just stopped speaking about the sponsors. And that's why I said until we get it confirmed, there's no point doing a video on it because it's just ridiculous now. It's just ongoing, constant chat about it, and it's not materializing. And you're right. You know, I was wondering who's gonna take away that Elise pain, and it looks like Estevao's gonna do that. You know, it looks like it because I said Neto. I don't know if Neto is gonna do it when he signed. I was like, oh, it's good. It's good signing. You know, someone that we know, someone that's, you know, some sort of experience, someone that's gonna come in and do a job. But is he gonna take away that Elise pain? I don't think so. Now we seem like someone that is capable of taking away that pain, and will take away that pain. So that's nice. And to be honest, Quenda's a good passer. More of a similar type profile. You're right. More of that type of profile. The pass, the awareness, the weight of the pass is key as well. And I think it's nice to have that type of profile out wide, you know, because we come up against a lot of low blocks, man. We come up and you need precision. Even out wide, you need precision. I don't like sporadic hit and hope. You know, inshallah, hope and inshallah type wingers. I do like a little bit of precision, a little bit of delicacy, you know. So delicate play it's important. All right, cool. Let's see. So spoke about Estevao. You know what I think in terms of this week, but we'll see what happens. Badiashile's back. Badiashile is back. This is massive, you know. Now, it's massive until he's injured. I don't know if this guy's gonna stay fit. So I'm just gonna preface by saying that. I think he actually belongs in the Lavia and Fofana category now. We don't tend to put him in there because we just forget that this guy, he's injury prone, but he is. He's actually he's getting to the point where he's becoming just as bad from the injury point front. So I'm going to put him in that category from now on until further notice. We need this guy to stay fit because when he played against Benfica and Liverpool, he was very, very good. Then he got injured again, came off against Liverpool, and obviously Hato comes on, Josh Achampong is there, James, I think, goes centre-back, and that was it. We need this left footer. We need this left footer playing at centre-back to pass the ball. I don't want to see Chalobah over there anymore. I don't want to see Chalobah at left-side centre-back. I really don't. Not for the way we're trying to play. If we weren't so possession-heavy, or we weren't so heavy in terms of building out from the back and all these things, it might not be such an issue. But because we are, he needs to start being consistently fit. So I'd probably leave him for Burnley, not knowing the situation with the medics. The medics make the final call as always, you know, they'll know. But I want to have him ready for Barcelona, and I want to have him ready for Arsenal. I think if Badiashile can give us Barcelona and Arsenal, that's fantastic. Then you go Josh on the right, or you go Fofana on the right, or whatever you want to do over on the right. Everybody is better on the right than they are on the left. In terms of Chalobah, Fofana, Josh, Tosin is, for me, a middle centre-back anyway, but again, right, because he's right-footed, so his passing on the right's better. So anybody can go to the right. I obviously have a preference for Josh and Fofana because they're the better players at the moment, but just Badiashile on the left. As long as he's on the left, anybody else on the right, I think we're going to improve. We're going to look a lot better. So that's important. But yeah, Tosin's not in great form, so you'll probably counter and say he's not good to be playing anyway. For sure, we're in a title in the race if we drop points. We're out. Wait. What's being said there, brother? For sure, we're in the race if Arsenal drop points. Okay. I'm not going to lie, I wouldn't expect any favours from Tottenham at the Emirates. As much as I was trying to pump up Toby, I'm trying to pump it up. That's purely just because I just want to rattle some cages. But if I'm making predictions, I'm not predicting Tottenham to get anything. Because I just feel like it's like us going to Old Trafford. There's certain stadiums and grounds now that are just earmarked for nonsense. And this is one of them for Tottenham. Emirates, nonsense. They just don't do well. Now, they have enough to get something, I think, but make it interesting. So let's see if they do. However, we play first. So there's no point looking at that game because that game is after us. Win our game and then enjoy the weekend, regardless of what happens. Don't win our game and the weekend is Kalas, regardless of what happens. That's the way I'm looking at it, because we play first. Iceman in the chat calling me out for my talent ID. Don't forget that Iceman wanted Vlahovic, everybody in the chat. Can we all just get a hand up in the chat if you remember Iceman wanting Vlahovic? Can everybody just show of hands if you remember? Because he wants to chat. He's talking a lot. And it's funny, I never really screenshot and take pictures of opinions in the chat because I could circle the block, but I'm not going to do that. But for you, I will. Vlahovic. What is Vlahovic doing in 2024, 2025, 2026? Anything? Anything from Vlahovic? Anything? Oh, yeah, everybody remembers. Okay, great. Fantastic. Fantastic. So what are we doing here? Vlahovic? 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 What's going on with Vlahovic? Vlahovic? Let me see. Is anything from... Oh. Is he even going to the World Cup? No. Oh, we're not going to see Vlahovic at the World Cup. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, dear. He's got 3 goals this season, yeah? Oh, that's outstanding. Oh, he's stat padded against Dortmund. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. He was injured. Listen, we don't give a damn. We don't give a damn. We don't give a damn. Hoyland's doing well in Serie A anyway. How much can we really take? How much can we really take? How much can we really take? At the end of the day, that's your take. Do you know what I mean? Does anybody want Vlahovic then? Let me just ask, actually. Anyone want Vlahovic? He wanted to keep Lukaku. Yes, he also wants to keep Lukaku. Oh, dear. FC 26 signing. No. McTominay's balling over there. Okay. Okay. So it's a bit spooky, is it? In Serie A right now. They're saying it's a bit spooky. They're saying Morata did well out there as well. They're saying it's a bit spooky out there, guys. Listen, it's an interesting one. It's an interesting one. Yeah, for me, I'm not overly keen on that one there that he was going for. They wanted to terminate his contract. I heard that. Yeah, contract termination. Imagine, he must be a madman. They wanted to terminate his contract. This is the player he wanted to bring into our football club. They want to terminate his contract. No, and nobody came in for him. Imagine. So imagine you are a grown-ass man, grown-ass, lethal, deadly striker. Free kick, shooting from range, all these things. Your club want to terminate your contract. Nobody comes in. Nobody came in. Why is that? I don't know. I find it incredible. Martinelli plus Estevao as right wing would fit us so well. You're crazy. You're absolutely insane. Garnacho going to score with a new hair. I saw that, yeah, he's dyed his hair, innit? I've seen that. So they've also closed the loophole as well, by the way, for selling hotels, selling women's teams, and all sorts of things going forward. So I don't know how important these things are in our business plan, but we're going to have to find another loophole, guys, because they're closing these loopholes, and they're closing them quick. So that's another thing that we can't do. Just in case. It's another thing we can't do. I feel like we'll just keep opening up loopholes. They'll just keep closing them. God knows for how long, how many we can keep finding. But every single thing we do, it tends to not be something that they like. It's never, oh yeah, that was fine and it's going to stay open. Every time we find one of these loopholes and we activate whatever it is, they close it within a year. Same with the amortization on the contracts. Start amortizing the contracts over 10 years instead of 5. Now it is 5 max. Was 10, close the loophole. Selling the hotel, selling the women's team, doing this, doing that. Close. So mad that there's this many loose ends in the rules. How many more loose ends are there? We're going to find out, because we're definitely going to do something that is open. But let's see. let's see what else they do and how important it is to our financial future. There's no extra news on the charges. No, there isn't. So it is what it is there. Can we get Welbeck off Brighton? He'll be willing to play third choice. Chelsea do not sign players of that age group, so we will not be going for Danny Welbeck. That is for sure. The best thing you can hope for right now is going for 26 years old max, and pray that they're happy to do that type of role. Not gonna get anyone 30 plus. Not gonna get anyone 30 plus. Mike Magnion would have been the first player that I can think of under this ownership that would have been of that age category, of that age group that we were going for in the summer. And he's a goalkeeper, so it's different anyway. It's different. But we still didn't get that one done. For whatever reason. I don't know. If they Googled his age and said, actually forget it, or what, I don't know. Why they bid in incrementals that were so low that was never going to get accepted. So until you see someone come through the door of that age group, assume that it won't happen, because that is the policy. So I'm not, anyone who's over the age of about 26, I don't even bother looking at them anymore. I don't even mention their name. You got to be below that, you know. But you can still find experience within the younger players, but they're going to cost a lot of money because they've played, they've developed. So you're not going to have to go through all those teething problems, and then you're going to pay the price. So, yeah. Let's see. But for me, I don't know, because everybody says this is still the youngest team in the league. And I'm assuming that's because the depth is quite young. There's teenagers in the depth. There's young, like, we just got rid of Bettinelli. Bettinelli was 35. That took the average age of this squad, that came crashing down to the floorboards now because he's gone. He's gone to Man City on a free over the summer. But there's still quite a bit of experience in the starting 11 or in the team, I think, in terms of, I don't think we should be leaning on the age thing as much as we were before, or using it as a get out of jail free card. I think if I rattle them off in my head, Cucurella is experienced now. Reece James is experienced. Tossen's experienced. Chalobah's experienced. Sanchez is experienced. Neto is experienced. Caicedo is getting to a point now where, again, age is really irrelevant, right? Same with Enzo Fernandez. Who else is there? Age-wise, you're talking. João Pedro, at the top level, how experienced is he? Okay, maybe not very, so maybe leave him out. But you get my point. There's a lot of experience now, I think. There's, not a lot, but there's enough. There's enough in there to not just be talking about experience. You want to talk about quality at this point. You want to be talking about the quality. The quality will override average players that are experienced. I don't want to just have average players that are experienced. I want to have great players. So for me, I need to have quality. If I have quality, I don't really care too much more about the experience point, because the team is getting older. So the experience stuff is going to start to become irrelevant, and it's not going to be a conversation because the guys are going to get older every year. So it's like they are now the experience. The quality. If you've got quality on the pitch, quality buys time, buys trophies, it gets loads of things. Quality, you know what I mean? Quality gets you very far. Estevao's 18. He's better than all our wingers. Quality. Not experience, not 150 games played in the Prem, or he's just quality. Quality. So obviously, yes, you do need to have some experience, but we have some experience. We could have more. Yes, we could. But we also need more quality, because Tossen's not the quality, but he's the experience. Chalobah's got the experience, but we need more quality. Neto is experienced, but he could have more quality. There's a lot of quality that needs to be added. Right, so that's kind of, so yeah, the Rudiger thing again. A lot of people bring up Rudiger, but that's not going to happen either. That's not going to happen. All right, cool. So age is just a number. Well, to a degree, yeah. Obviously, if you have 11, 18-year-olds and they're all quality, probably still going to be in some disarray because there's no balance there either. But, that's not the case here. So, You know, we're getting closer to having something in terms of age profile balance to a degree. Yeah, we're getting there. Chalobah is much more ceiling than people understand. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I don't know about that because I think Chalobah for me is a very good squad player. I think he's a good Premier League centre back. I don't think he's a great Premier League centre back. I don't see him becoming a great Premier League centre back. Personally, that's not what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a very good centre back. I'm seeing good. I'm not seeing greatness. I think if there was greatness, I would have seen it by now. Personally, I think I would have seen it by now. Even Christensen, who was young and making mistakes and this and that and the third, he never went on to achieve greatness at Barcelona. He's been now very injury prone. He's not really that important to them. I do think there are signs that someone's going to become a great centre-back in the mid-20s. I don't think you need to wait till 30s to know if we're going to see a great centre-back. We didn't need to wait for Van Dijk. We didn't, Van Dijk obviously had a different career path because he started at, where he did in Holland, Celtic and Southampton. But even at Southampton, you could see the makings, I think, of a great centre-back. And the other names have all started their career in teenage years at top clubs, whether it's Sergio Ramos's and Terry's and Rio's and all these guys. And that is the quality that we don't have. When we're talking about centre-back, we're not talking about just bringing in any old Tom, Dick and Harry. We're not talking about just bringing in anyone off the street. We need a top centre-back. One of the very best. If we are not going to buy that, you may as well unearth it with the young players, the Colwells, the Joshes or whatever. That's the only level of centre-back we need. We don't need any just random guy to come in. So we've already got enough squad players at centre-back. So we'll see. I think we'll sell Santos in the summer. Interesting take. I don't think we will because I think Lavia's injury-prone problems are a bigger issue for us than Santos. I think Santos can continue to develop and improve and be the squad player. Lavia is not fit. So if he doesn't fix his fitness by the end of the season, and he's fit to go in the summer, there's a case to be made that you do move him on, regardless of the quality, and you bring in another midfielder who has the quality, but also has the availability. I think Lavia's profile is very, very fun. It's a very fun profile. Lots of ball retention, press resistance, ball carrying abilities, but you're not getting a destroyer. You're not getting an Nemanja Matic. You're not getting an enforcer. You're not getting a 6. In my opinion, you're not getting a proper 6. You're not getting a goal-scoring midfielder either. So as much as I like Lavia, I love Lavia. I think Lavia's class. I'm not shutting the door to the possibility of us having to replace Lavia because I don't think Lavia is the kind of profile that you just, there's no movement. You have to keep him. You can replace Lavia. You ain't gonna like might not enjoy it. Might not be celebrating it. It's not great. Don't really want to have to do it, but you can do it. If you have to do it, you can do it. It's not impossible. It's not an impossible replacement. So I think you have to keep the door open on that one, to be honest, and see how it goes. But we can't keep having Caicedo run into the ground every game. Someone's got to step up. So, is Delap hungry for success at Chelsea? What's with the Delap questions? Delap's fit for this, right? Delap's fit for this game. Who do we play? Who do we play tomorrow? Who do we play in that starting 11? Guys. Who do we play in that starting 11? Sanchez got to play. This is difficult. Gusto's been getting a lot of praise in the last press conference. He obviously is 6 wins out of 6 when he started. You can make a case to play him, I think, at right back. Give the overlap if you're going to play Estevao on the right. But I don't think we will. João Pedro, maybe in the 10, yeah. Don't think he played loads of international minutes from what I could see. Delap up front, João Pedro in the 10, because it is Burnley. So I do think there's going to be some sort of defensive solidarity, some sort of line that will be held. We need someone to go in there and be a bit of a threat. I don't want to say go in there and be a brute force and be a argy-bargy and all these things, because actually I'm over that now. I need Delap to start shooting, picking corners, scoring goals, box awareness. Crosses are coming in. Can you get your head on it? Can you get headers on target? That is the type of disturbance and the type of chaos and the type of quality I need to see now. I don't need you to go in there and elbow nobody in the head. I don't need to go in there and go tackle nobody in the kneecap. I don't need you to go in there and go and make a fool of yourself when the ball is on the other side of the pitch and you're doing some sort of commotion. I think we need to start asking for quality from Delap. I need link-up play. I need hold-up play. I need runs in behind. I need shots. I want to see quality. I don't want to see kerfuffle and all this. I want to see quality. So if Delap plays tomorrow, the main focus now, goals. I need you to think about getting a goal. I think at the moment, the mindset has been too focused on how can I make a nuisance? How can I put my body about? How can I create a back and forth of this opposition player? You need to go onto that pitch. You focus on the goals. This is what you're paid to do. This is what you are purchased to do. You need to score goals. João Pedro's already said he should be scoring goals. He should be scoring goals. I agree. You also need to be scoring goals. So you're back from injury now, international break, and also the World Cup. England don't really have a second fiddle. They don't really have, Danny Welbeck's there, but obviously he's of a certain age, which doesn't really matter for Thomas Tuchel. He'll take anyone. Ivan Toney's out in Saudi, right? And Solanke's injured. So who else is there really? There's not really a plethora of options here. We're not talking 10 names. If you can lock in and start playing well, you might actually get on the plane to America. You might actually be in the squad. You're not going to start, but you'd be an option. So Watkins is there. I don't think Watkins had a great start to the season. So not compared to previous seasons for sure. So you have an opportunity here to go on a bit of a run in this winter period, and you need to be there. You need to be there. João Pedro's been carrying a bit of a knock. He's been carrying a bit of a knock. He's been carrying a lot of the load because you've been out. Now you need to start banging in some goals. And I'm not asking for 20. I'm not even really at this point asking for 15. I'm just asking for something, some contribution. 10, 11, 12. Can you give me that? Can you contribute? Start with that. We'll go from there. So, yeah. Delap needs to relax. He may have been doing too much to prove himself. He needs to just relax and the ball will come to him. Focus on the ball, not the noise, and he'll be fine. Is it Voice of Reason, brother? I think it might be. I can't see your full name, but I have a feeling that might be it. All right, big up to you. Oh no, it's not Voice of Reason. It's not. When Gusto starts, Chelsea wins. He must start. If he does start, I mean, I don't know how he's gonna look after the South American players. But if he does start, and he starts at right back, and maybe he puts Caicedo in midfield next to, it might be Enzo. I really enjoyed Enzo's performance against Wolves. I think it was his best performance of the season so far, and he was fantastic in there. I think when you play against these kind of oppositions, you can play Enzo in there because you don't really need to think so much about the defense. You're focusing more about what you're doing on the ball. If it's a big game like Arsenal-Barcelona, maybe you're not going to see Enzo in the pivot. Maybe you're going to see him back in the 8, 10 / whatever. This game, I think you could play him in there. Is he going to play Caicedo and Enzo? I'm not sure. Caicedo played all the games for his country over the break. He played full 90 minutes as well. But he has to play. Can you really not have Caicedo in your team if you're Chelsea? You can't really afford to not have him in, so he's going to have to play. So I don't know. It could be Caicedo, Enzo together. Badiashile, is he going to start? Is it too early? Maybe it's too early. So then you're looking at Josh, Trevor, maybe Fofana as well. Mixture of those three, I think, hopefully. We already know the fullbacks. If Reece starts, if he saves him for Barca and Arsenal, I don't mind that. I don't think I mind that, saving him for Barca and Arsenal. I think Barca, you need Reece. Rashford's over there. You absolutely need him for Arsenal. So if you're managing Reece, which we are less so these days, but we still manage him a little, then you can make a case for Reece not playing Burnley and he plays the other two. So then if you're not playing Reece, I think you have to play Caicedo because you're not going to not play Reece and Caicedo on the right side of that team. That's too much change. So yeah, Cucurella is going to play anyway, so that's fine. So yeah, I think that's how I think Garnacho should be playing as well on the left wing. I don't think there's a case for anything else. You play Garnacho, see if he carries on the form from Wolves. On the right side, it'll probably be maybe Neto, maybe Estevao's on the bench. I don't know. Let's see. But I think the team's pretty sorted after that. I think the team's pretty sorted. I think there's only a couple things he's going to play with potentially. I don't think it's going to do too much craziness. You think Reece might play in midfield? Maybe. Yeah, it's too soon to judge him. Absolutely. But I'm just saying this is what I need from Delap going forward. I'm not judging Delap in terms of, he's not good enough. I'm saying this is what I need now. So this is what I'm looking for before we judge you, is I need you to score. I need you to focus on scoring. I don't want to see any more red cards. I don't want to see any more yellow cards, really. Any more stupidness. That's what I'm saying. That's how we need to see it going into the next few games. We have to beat. Listen, Turkish. We gotta beat Burnley, bro. If we don't beat Burnley, there's no shooting, striking, nothing distance, bro. We gotta beat Burnley. I don't want to have to rest, really. But here's what it is. This is modern day football. Where do you see Josh status with Badiashile and Wesley Fofana back? It's a good question, Robert. I mean, you know better than me. We have to look after Badiashile and we have to look after Fofana. I've just said I think Badiashile is firmly in the Lavia Fofana category now. He has to be looked after, has to be managed. So I don't think he starts against Burnley, but I want him to start against Barca and Arsenal because I think he's that important as a left foot at centre back. I don't think there's anybody else outside of Cole that can go over there and play to the level that needs to be played at on the ball. So Badiashile and Fofana have to be looked after, which automatically means Josh is going to play games. Because I think Josh should be above Trevor in the pecking order, and he should be above Tosin in the pecking order. So for me, the pecking order should be Fofana and Badiashile as much as you can, whilst looking after them. Josh plays as much as possible, because I think he hasn't put a foot wrong. And the other two come in here and there when you need a partner or whatever. But again, I don't think their form dictates that they play much for me. I would love to see Josh start as much as possible. But I also recognize that Fofana, when he's at his best, he's very good for us. Badiashile the same. But again, you got to manage them both. So I think that this is the thing. This is the one thing I think that caps us a little bit, guys, if I'm being honest. The constant rotation at centre-back, that by force we have to rotate. I don't think that is healthy at all. You shouldn't really have to rotate your centre-backs. Your centre-backs, you should be able to keep them available. You should be able to keep them week in, week out. That's the partnership. Aggressor, composed, one that steps up, one that steps back or whatever. The speed, the aggressive, the grit, the leadership. All of these traits and components that centre-back pairings need to have. You should just have your two centre-backs. And you should only really have to change them when there's weaker games in the cup or whatever. We don't have that. We got our strongest centre-backs are injury-prone or injured. So they have to be looked after. They have to be rotated. Automatically means we have to weaken the back line. Automatically means we have to lose chemistry, lose understanding, lose partnerships, lose chemistry, lose cohesion, lose in that position. Because the guys that should be playing every single game and should be building a partnership, which probably should be a mixture of Badiashile, Fofana / Josh, should be trying to build some sort of partnership. It's not going to happen. Unless Badiashile can keep himself fit, it's not going to happen. Fofana there's no point even, he's guaranteed to be managed. Badiashile, I don't know what's going on. Self-inflicted. I think the Fofana thing, look, we sent him to America and we were sure that this guy wasn't going to be injury prone because we had done all the checks with the doctors and all these specialists and everything. But the fact of the matter is, his last season at Leicester, he was incredibly injury prone. He had a massive injury, not even injury prone. He had a massive injury. He was out for 75% of the season. He only came back at the back end of the season, and then we decided to purchase him for 80 million. That was a misstep. That was a misstep. That wasn't smart. That was the season where we signed Aubameyang, we signed Koulibaly, we signed Chukwuemeka, we signed Cassidy, we signed a couple of other brothers as well, Sterling. That was not clever, but it's done. What can you do? It's done. But that's the situation. That's the situation. Disasi was training with the first team over the break, yeah. But again, I wouldn't read too much into that, guys. He's not going to get reintegrated back into this team, I don't think. He's literally just there to make up the numbers so we can have people to go up against in training whilst the majority of the squad is in away with the international teams. So I'm not really expecting him to come back. Let's see. Yeah. I don't know what checks were being done. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. But that's what it is. That's what it was. I have no idea. Absolutely no idea. And also, we got up against our former player Leslie Okachukwu this weekend. And you know how much I like Leslie Okachukwu. I think there was a talent there that we didn't really unearth as much as we should have. I say should, not could. I say should, because I think our loan choices could have been a lot better. But it is what it is. Let's see. Hopefully he doesn't do anything against us, but let's see how he does as well. We're going to see him for the first time. I think it's the first time we're coming up against him since he was sold. Need better link up from Delap as well. Not even holding up the ball enough, which has been frustrating when he plays. Love from South Africa. I agree, Mohammed. I agree. That is literally what I'm saying to you. I think all round play needs to be better. The link up is very important. The hold up is very important. That's what João Pedro's. That's his reference point. He's playing off of you, so you and him need to create some sort of chemistry, which is understandably not there because these two have never really played much together. Even in the Club World Cup, João Pedro was playing up front. He was scoring goals. He was looking like he was going to be on 9. He was banging him in, and Delap was coming off the bench. And he obviously came in a bit later, I believe. I know. Did he come in first? No, he came in first. He came in first, then João Pedro followed afterwards and came midway through the tournament, but João Pedro took the chain, ran with it. We know what happens. So they never really played too much together. So I'm not expecting there to be chemistry. But yeah, we need to start building it. We need to start building it. Yeah, absolutely. Chukwuemeka, yeah. I'd rather keep Neto over Gittins. Neto gives us something different. It's difficult. I think Gittins is the... Oh, it's difficult. I think Gittins' profile might be more important. I don't know. I think Gittins' potential profile, like the actual profile of what Gittins is meant to be, might be more important for me. Might be more important than Neto's. But that's not to say Gittins is better, because he's not. Neto's better. Neto is more important. But I think Gittins' profile is more important than Neto's, if you get what I'm saying. I'm trying to make this make sense, but I feel like what Gittins is capable of in terms of his potential, which is what we always have to keep talking about, potential, that ceiling in this system, under this manager, is more important than Neto's profile and his... Well, I'm not even going to call it potential because he's of a certain age where we don't talk about potential anymore. Gittins is really raw, you know, but sometimes Neto plays like he's really raw, and he's not meant to be raw. He's meant to be, you know, he's meant to be in his prime. So I don't know. I don't think it's straightforward. I really don't know. It's not an easy one. I think the only way to kind of, you know, the only way to make the decision is based upon what everybody does this season. Neto, Garnacho, Gittins. We'll see who wants to stay and who wants to go. We'll see based upon performance, opportunity, game time. It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Let's see. No, I'll be on the mob for next week's watch along for Chelsea Arsenal, yeah, as always. And then obviously we're covering Arsenal Tottenham, I think is tomorrow afternoon, is it? If I'm right in saying. I don't even know. I don't even know what's going on after Burnley, honestly. After Burnley away, I'm mentally I don't know what's going on anymore. Badiashile has had a decent season. He hasn't. I'm not even going to say Badiashile's had a decent season. I don't think you can play 2 games and have a decent season. I think your availability is largely linked to whether or not you're having a decent season. And because he's barely played, I'm going to say he's not having a decent season. He's had decent appearances. He's had very good appearances when he's played, but because he's only played 2 games, he can't be having a decent season. 2 Premier League games, 1 Champions League game. Is not enough. You can't play 3 games for me and have a decent season. So I get you. I get what you're saying in terms of performances have been very decent, but he's having a very uninfluential season. He's not having enough influence. But yeah, his lack of availability makes him less important or less valuable than Chalobah, as he's always vulnerable with balls in behind and over the top. Fair enough. He hasn't had a season. Yeah, exactly. He's at NA. He's at null and void. No plans for career mode. No plans for career mode. I am very, very focused. Very focused now on branching out. And that means my planning is going into that. So at the moment, that's all I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about lining up my next guest. I already know who my next 3 guests are going to be, actually, to be honest. I already know. I've already agreed personal terms with all 3 of them, so they're gonna get queued up, lined up in regards to dates for filming. Hopefully I can film one of those episodes next week, but we'll see if the schedules align. I'm chatting to them now about it, and then the other 2 in December, early December. And the drops are gonna be every couple of weeks. That's the plan. The plan was never for them to drop 2 in 1 week, but I had to do it. This rare special occasion, also international break, and I'm in Mexico, loads of things there, and I couldn't really make any other content, so that was the only content I had as well to drop. So, but usually it will be every couple of weeks. It won't be that often. It won't be every few days. So I'm looking forward to it, man. That's my new passion project. That's my new, because you know the reviews, the watch alongs, it's all very regimented. It's all very much same as, you know, we know what we're doing there. We know what we're getting. I always need something that's going to keep me on my toes, challenging, something that's going to be, you know, something to improve. I think that the first 2 episodes, you guys showed a lot of love, man. You guys seem to really enjoy them, which is great, because I didn't really give you too much prep that they were coming. I just kind of just dropped them in the end. I think I gave you a bit of prep after the last watch along, but I can't remember. The first one was more of an interview. Second one was more conversational in terms of the style. Because obviously I'm still working out what style I'm going to do it in. Obviously it'll probably be a blend of the both, but you know, I've got to figure it out how to best go about it to make it as good as possible. So I'm very, very self-critical with these. So I've been watching them back a lot, making a lot of notes, things to improve, things to add, things to take away. And yeah, every episode is going to be slightly different in terms of, you know, we had Turkish tea with Turkish. We had Saeed's degree, certificate, teaching degree, you know, and then on the next one we'll have something else, and then this and that. So I'm looking forward to it, man. It's very exciting. I can't lie, very exciting to have that launch now. Now we know what it looks like, and everything's in place. Took a long time to build the background and whatnot, but yeah. And I'm looking at the background. If you're asking where the back is, literally right there. It's behind me. What's in front of me is behind you. That's right there. I'm pointing at it. So if you're wondering where it is, that is where it is. It's literally in this room. The only difference is we're sitting over there and the cameras are over here. That's it. So I'm excited. Let's see how it goes next. I'm not going to tell you the next guest. I'm never going to tell you the next guest is. That's one thing I'm not going to do. It's always going to be a surprise. We got to keep something for ourselves in terms of any dopamine we can get these days. Everything's always, you know, told before it's happened, pre-planned before you know, even series, you know, they just upload the whole thing on Netflix now. The whole clip just gets unloaded. You get the whole series to binge immediately. There's no more waiting around for anything anymore. So I just want to keep that as a surprise. I've seen all your suggestions anyway in the comments. I've seen um all of your options that you've given. And then you'll see what happens. There's no point me telling you. There's no point me telling you because it's not recorded, it's not edited. So let's see. Let's see who the next person is. All right, cool. Let's see. Yeah. Mad. Oh, dearie me. I don't know when he's back actually from injury, bro. I actually have no idea. I have no idea, actually. It's a great question. I am just as in the dark as you. I wait for these presses just like you. And the thing is, yeah, I could probably find out if I went digging and I had some connections, but I don't actually try to build any connections within the club or with journalists and try and get scoops. First of all, I don't want to have that type of knowledge that fans shouldn't really have. I feel like it puts me in a position where now I know things I shouldn't know, or I know things that I can't say anyway. So what's the point of me knowing? For me, if I know something and I can't tell you, then what's the point of me knowing it? It's literally pointless. Now I'm just having to dangle the carrot. I'm having to speak in objects. I have to put up emojis when I tweet or bullshit like I ain't got the energy for any of that. I ain't got the energy for none of that shit. So I don't know nothing. And that's how I like it, to be honest. If it's not for me to know, then I don't know it. If it's in the public domain, you guys can see it, I can see it, we can talk about it. If it's not, then we don't know. And that's it. It is what it is. It's true. What's the point? If I can't tell no one, if I can't snitch, what's the point? What's the point of me knowing? Because then I know it, you don't know it, I can't tell you. So then I'm speaking I'm speaking from a point of view, from a point of view where I know stuff that you don't know, which is why I have this context, and it's just confusing for you guys. It's confusing for you. It's confusing for me. It's confusing for everyone. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I can't be asked with all that. It's just not for me. So if anybody does want to tell me something, any journalists, any insiders, you're more than welcome to tell me. You know where my socials are. You just send me a message. Get my number off someone, message me. However, I will be telling everybody here. You know what I'm saying? I will be telling everybody here what's going on. And that's, you know what I mean? So that's it. Voice of Kalechi, 10 memberships gifted. Wow, big up to you, brother. You now just gifted 10 memberships to the chat, which reminds me once again that a membership video will be coming this weekend. Of course, I'm back from Mexico, so I will now be back doing those membership pieces of content as well. So stay tuned for that. Much appreciated. Obviously, the members did get a little bit of a teaser as to what was coming this week with the podcast and who the guest was going to be, and they knew in advance. I gave them something, but I have not got any of that information now, so I'm not going to tell you this weekend who the guest is because I actually don't know who it's going to be. But when I do know, and when it's being edited and I know it's definitely going to be that person, it's definitely on its way out, then I'll let you know a bit earlier. But I want most of you to be surprised because I do like seeing the comments when I upload and you guys, oh my God, I didn't know that. That's a nice bit of dopamine for me. Nice bit of dopamine for you. Can you do one with Mark Goldbridge? I'm sure in time. I'm sure in time it will happen. At the moment, I've got a list. So I've got a list that I'm working through. So like I said, I know my next 3. I don't know my next 3 after that. I'm going to do these 3, and then I'm going to see who the next 3 are. I'm very focused on making sure the next 3 are absolutely insane levels in terms of me hosting, getting the right questions, getting the right insight, getting the right storytelling, like just making sure that there's the laughter, the jokes or whatever needs to be there. You know, the things that you want answered, asked, all of that. Just making sure that it slaps, basically. I don't want to keep looking past because I have to make sure that these 3 are sick. Otherwise, there may not be another 3. You know what I mean? If they're shit, no one watches them, then why would we keep doing it? So we have to make sure that it's good. So I have to keep raising the levels. So yeah, I know my next 3. I know my next 3. All right, cool. So You guys really want information, don't you? All right, do you know what? I'll tell you this. The next 3, there won't be any big 6 on the next 3 because we're not going to just keep it being predictable. I started with Turkish and Saeed because obviously I know them very well. I speak to them every single week, and I'm still learning my trade as a host, as a interviewer, communicator, whatever you want to call it. I'm learning, so I want to make sure I learn with people that I know very well, and it's easier for me to do it. However, I'm not going to just keep going through the whole roster to begin with. No, I might circle back, but that's not my next couple. No, because that's far too predictable. And we don't like predictable, so that's not the plan. All right, that's enough now. You man are trying to squeeze all the... You're smart. You're trying to ask questions that are not the actual question to get the answer to the question that you wanted. I understand what you guys are doing. You're very clever. I don't mind giving you that. I'll give you that, but that doesn't narrow it down that much because there's a whole heap of people outside the big 6. But I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that for free. All right, cool. All right, cool indeed. So, no, I'm not answering that. That's nice. Now you guys are just trying too hard. Oh, dearie me. But yeah, no, they were both very different. You know what I mean? They were both very different. Very different. Turkish's was more like proper interview, like deep questions. I knew there were certain questions I had to ask. Just had to ask. You guys needed to see me ask them. I know what you wanted to hear, what you wanted from it. So it was kind of very easy for me to navigate. But next time I have him on, I have to go through LimeWire. I have to go through, music. I have to go through clothing because there's more. There's more to even go into. Do you know what I mean? So I said it to her after the next one. This is going to be even funnier, but it's probably going to be a lot more lighthearted because that one was more serious, and then Saeed's one was quite lighthearted. I felt as well. That was more just like that was more back and forth, more of a conversation. It's different types of podcasting, and Saeed's one was this brother. What did he say? He said the Saeedism very early on, the duo that nobody wanted, or what the duo that everybody knew they didn't want or something like that. Yeah, brilliant. But yeah, and a lot of people have asked me like, what's your plan? Well, the plan is to start with football YouTube for the first series, and then yes, I will branch out. And the brilliant thing about the name branching out is I don't have to do anything predictable whatsoever because it's literally in the name. It won't be predictable. I'll start with that, but then I'll branch out and we'll get guests from outside of what you know me to collab, who you know me to collab with, basically. So yeah, we could have anybody on, to be honest, in the future. There's no limits. There's absolutely no limits. You call it like a football name and you're limited to that. You call it certain things and then you're limited to that. There's no limits. That show can be whatever in terms of guests, in terms of topics, in terms of anything. So we just have to take time with it and keep going. Yeah, I've actually reached out to a player actually already. I haven't heard back yet. They're not active. I don't think active players are gonna work because there's a whole heap of club. Like if you want an active player on, I'll tell you this: if you want an active footballer on your channel, you have to pass a lot of checks. So first you got to pass the club checks. The club is going to look at your channel. They're going to look at, they're going to ask you what you're going to ask them. The agent's going to ask as well what you're going to ask them. You're going to send in your questions. Then they're going to look through all of them. They're going to tell you what they like, what they don't like. Then they're going to send them back. And you're not going to actually ask anything interesting. By the end of all of that, the questions are going to be very watered down, very predictable, very limited, very bland. There's no point. It's not even a goal of mine to ask an active player to come on because they're not going to speak with any sort of freedom. Unless they run their own thing and they bypass the club and they bypass the agent and they tell them, you don't talk to me about this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it how I want to do it. That's different. But that doesn't tend to be the case. So I think you're talking more ex-players. You're talking more players that are not active, and they'll just be open and they'll be transparent and say whatever they want to say. So yeah, let's see. But yeah, I did reach out to a non-active player already, to be honest. But yeah, retired players are good ones to go for. Do you know what? Lukaku would be an incredible podcast guest. I've seen a few of his interviews actually over the years. He would be insane on a podcast, but he's active. Imagine if I had Lukaku on in a couple of years. Well, that would be awkward. But again, if they're going to come on, it's not a PR exercise. It's not an ego massaging. Obviously, there's a respect. But I am going to say that, you know, what the fuck was that all about? You know what I mean? I'm gonna keep it 100. I'm not gonna glaze and wax. I'm gonna glaze in terms of I'm gonna do the intro. The intro is gonna be, you know, very flattering, and you're gonna get all your achievements listed and all that. But I'm still gonna get into the shit that's awkward. Absolutely, it would be a sick interview. But I don't know. He'd see the stuff that we've said. Yeah, we've all seen his interviews, to be fair, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Can you imagine? Yeah, that would be crazy. That would be absolutely mad. I was just thinking about it now. It would be crazy, you know. It would go so left. I don't think it would go left. We'd keep it professional, but we have to ask certain things and we have to challenge certain things as well. Can't let that run. Oh dear. When do we send Lavia to Strasbourg? This super chat here from Black Mamba says, when does that convo start? I think at some point we need to take Lavia out of the limelight. He needs to prove he can compete for 90 minutes. I don't really see the point in loaning him personally. If we loan him and he gets injured a bunch, then he can't play out on loan. He's taken up a loan spot. So this is the key thing for me. If you're going out on loan, you can't take up a loan spot unless you're guaranteed to play. So you can't be injury prone and you also can't be a backup player in that squad. That's why I don't like loaning out players to teams in the lower part of the division, because they don't tend to use them. It's a waste of their time. It's a waste of our time, waste of everyone's time. I'd rather them go to the championship because I know they're going to kill it. Confidence is going to go flying through the roof. They're going to mash work. Valuation's going to go up and everybody wins. So I don't think you should send injury-prone players out on loan. One, you should be able to look after them better than anybody else's medical team because you know their body, you know the player better. Your medical team should know the player better. You should also care about them a lot more because they're your player. You send them out on loan, they might not care. Rinse them out, don't manage the minutes, play them whenever they're fit, get injured again, or they don't play them at all. Either or is a bad thing. So for me, loaning out injury-prone players don't work. If you're gonna get rid of an injury-prone player, you just get rid, you sell, you put a buyback, or you put a matching clause or whatever you want to put on it, and you let them go. If they find themselves out on that new club permanently, that club will care because they paid for them, so they'll try to keep them fit. If they find their way back, you got clauses there. If they don't, you don't activate them. That is, for me, what it is. There's not enough loan spots, and we've got way too many young players. That's the thing. We got way too many young players that need loans that we will either buy or they will come back from a loan and they'll need to go on loan again. So we got way too many players in the loan system to be giving loan spots to people that are injury prone. So I would say you can't judge it, or you can judge it, but there's no point judging it until the end of the season because that's when the conversation is gonna be, do they stay or they go, because the window will open. And then we judge it off the season. But the real issue is that if these guys are fit at the end of the season, you're going to want to keep them because they're probably going to show you enough quality to want to keep them. If they're injured, you can't sell them because they're injured and they won't pass a medical. So someone's got to take some kahunas here, some big boy responsibility and say, do you know what? You are fit. However, over the course of the season, you did not play enough games and you were not fit enough of the time. So we are going to sell you, even though you are now currently available. I just don't know when that happens because usually it's you only want to sell them when they're injured, when they're out, when they're fit. Nobody's really talking about selling them because they're fit and the quality is therefore being demonstrated. So for me, I'd like to think that we have some sort of matches played mark that they got to hit. If they don't hit that, then they already know what time it is. Because yeah, we got to start. We got to start making space for people who can play. Oh man, Semenyo might go to Liverpool. I think Liverpool. I mean, Liverpool need a left winger. They need a left winger if we're talking about an actual left winger with Gakpo. Rio is obviously 16, but they actually need a right winger more than a left winger. If I'm being honest, I think they need a right winger more. They need a centre back as well. And some people say they even need another midfielder. So there's a lot of business to do, bro. It's a lot of business. So I don't know. If you want to get a winger that can play both flanks. If you're Liverpool and you need a winger, you just get a winger that can play on both sides, because you need a right winger and you need a left winger. So you may as well kill two birds with one stone and get a winger that can do both sides. Not easy to find in this day and age, but that's really what you need. But they need a centre back. I actually don't know about the Brazilian kid that we want with the release clause, bro. I actually don't know. Who is that? Can you give me the name? Because I've kept up with what I've needed to keep up with, but I've not kept up with transfer news and stuff. I'm not bothered about all that. Transfer news I don't really pay attention to until probably like the last week of December. And then when we're getting into the last week of December, we're lining up, queuing up January, and then we're getting back into transfer videos and stuff like that. But we're only there when the deal's done, to be honest. I'm not here for all this. It's happening, it's not. It's happening, it's not. It's long. It's long. But this is the thing. You get to $1 billion spend quite fast. You spend 500 million, you still need 3 players minimum, maybe 4, just to balance out the squad. That's not because the quality is not there. That's just because you need another right winger, you need another centre back, you need another midfielder potentially. You can get to that 1 billion spend quite fast. You can get to that 1 billion spend quite fast. It's mad. All right, cool. The tunnel at the end of the light. Oh boy. Right, super chat here. The reason I want Lavia gone for me is because I want Anderson. He reminds me of Cover with a killer pass but awful ball striking. Lavia is unreliable. I'm actually gonna put up another poll. Can you get Jamie Carragher with Jason Cundy so we can roast Jamie? I won't be having 2 people at once. I'll only ever have 1 person on at a time. The set dictates that anyway. To be honest, there's not really space for 3 people. It wouldn't look good. And yeah, I'm just not doing groups. I'm just doing one person. Focus on one person's story per se. What was we saying? Anderson. Let me close that poll and ask her, because that poll there was about Quenda. And at the moment, Neto's won that quite comfortably. Gittins, then Garnacho, then Estevao. And that is not really too shocking. It's purely down to as it stands. It's not about a final judgment. That might be completely different at the end of the season. We'll see. I want to ask you as well about a Lavia potential replacement, just purely because, again, we're speaking about Lavia. I don't really know about the injury front with him. I'm not going to tell you I'm very confident. I am hanging on to the Reece James kind of story and hoping that he can just follow that, but it's not for everybody. Not everybody's going to be able to recover from the injuries that they've had, so I'm not gonna tell you everything's gonna be okay with this one. We'll have to see. Would you prefer Walton or Anderson? They're probably both gonna go to the World Cup. Don't really see any reason why they wouldn't. I think both of them partner Rice quite well. I think both of them as well are gonna want to move to a club where they're starters. Now, this is why we need to be going into the next summer at our peak level, whatever that looks like. Because it's very easy to convince players to come into a setup that's competitive if it's a winning team. You can tell them, oh yeah, you're not a guaranteed starter, but we're actually Champions League holders, so relax yourself. We're Premier League holders, so relax yourself. We are this, we are that, we are this, we are that. You're coming into an environment where you're going to have to be competing for your place. We never had any problem selling the dream to, you know, the midfielders when we had Essien, Makalele, Lampard, Ballack, Mikel. You have to share game time. Anelka, Torres, Drogba. You have to share game time. You know, I can keep going. We never had this problem. You know why? Because we were winners. Winners want to play with winners, and winners understand that if there's loads of winners, then you're going to probably have to compete for your spot. And if you're not playing well, you're going to be on the bench, regardless of your name. If you're not winning, the balance at the negotiation table is changing, because now if you don't sign me, I'll go and sign for a winner. If you don't sign me, I'll go play for this team. I'll go play for Man City or Liverpool or Arsenal or whatever it is. So now you're trying to convince them. When you're winners, you don't really have to convince them to come to you. They are the ones begging to join your club because you're winners and because you've got a history of winning. And that's what we need to be doing. We need to be the team that everybody just wants to join because we're those guys. We don't want to have to be convincing, backpedaling, heavily negotiating, please begging, and no. We don't want to do that, because if we have to do that, then that's going to come with certain clauses and certain things that mean, oh, I have to be this important, I have to be this guy, and the egos and all that. Not trying to see that. So, yeah. That's why I was a bit frustrated after the Club World Cup, because we were world champions, but we didn't necessarily act like it in the window. But as long as it all works out, in regards to the season, and we progress in the way that we need to, then I'm not gonna keep going back to that window. As much as I struggle with it at times. Someone called me racist. I said Anderson or Enzo. I said, why you always get yourself into such trouble in my chat? I don't understand. There really shouldn't be any trouble. You know what I mean? There shouldn't be any trouble around here, brother. You shouldn't really be having any issues. You seem to have, you always seem to be fighting in here. What are you fighting for your life? I don't see anybody else fighting for their life in here. Why are you always fighting for your life, bro? The brother's always fighting for his life in this chat, bro. I don't know why. Oh, dear. You think Maresca goes Estevao tomorrow and Neto against Barca to best exploit the high line, and he goes Gusto high and wide and Neto left for... Oi. I like these. See, this is what I like to hear. This is what I like to hear. Burnley, more stubborn. Lower block. That is a game where an Estevao can come in and leave his magic on the pitch, leave the stardust, open up the gaps, and you have a variation between him and Garnacho. And João Pedro has someone in the 10s to link with. Because when João Pedro is in the middle and Neto and Garnacho are out wide, neither Neto or Garnacho thrive in the pockets. Neither Neto or Garnacho play well in the pockets. They're not good in the pockets. They are wingers. And in my opinion, wingers that should really actually be inside forwards, because they should be trying to get into as many goal scoring opportunities as they possibly can. Obviously, Garnacho can do the cutbacks and the crossing, and Neto will try and do the crossing. But I do think there should be goal tallies coming from these two, because the creativity or the dribbling and the passing, these things are all capped. So the goals, the volume, the GA, whatever, the goals, get goals, really, I think. Whereas Estevao, I don't actually see him as a winger that has to get goals, because I know he's going to create or be the pass before the pass or whatever. He's going to take it to the touch line. He's gonna do all sorts of things. There's gonna be variation in his play. He's even doing the box crashing. Saw that against Liverpool. So the variation between Garnacho and Estevao is a lot healthier than having Garnacho and Neto, because it's very samey. If you want to predominantly attack down one flank, I don't want to predominantly attack down Neto's flank. I don't want to predominantly attack down Garnacho's flank. I don't want to predominantly attack down either of the flanks with those two playing. I don't want them to be very touch heavy. I don't want them to be very ball dominant. I want them to make the off the ball runs. I want them to make the runs crash in the box. I want them to receive on the transition when there's space. I want them to receive when there's an overload on the other side with the ball dominant player, like a Palmer or an Estevao, and they get it where there's more time and space, because then they're going to do better with the ball. We saw that against PSG, time and space, Neto, Garnacho, time and space, whatever. So that variation for me is important against Burnley. But because Estevao played South America and all this, Brazil, he might not start. He might not start tomorrow. But I prefer what you said. If Estevao could start tomorrow, and it meant that he was on the bench against Barca, maybe tactically that makes more sense for the occasion and for the quality of the teams in terms of the spectacles and the Yamal versus Estevao, and that is playing into it for some people. But in terms of tactically, I actually think you're closer to home. I think if you're gonna do Garnacho Neto together, you may as well do it against Barca because there's gonna be space. There's gonna be space. But yeah, it's a tricky one. It's a very tricky one. I don't know. I'm not expecting him to play. I'm not expecting him to play tomorrow, to be honest. But I would like to hope and pray that he will, but I'm not expecting it. We can have many years of Estevao versus Yamal. You think that? No. Well, I don't know. I don't know why you'd lie about Palmer stubbing his toe. So I'm taking it in. I'm assuming that that's the situation. Yeah, I'm not really digging that much deeper into the Palmer situation. I assume that's what happened, and then he's out injured is what it is. I'm not doing a conspiracy theory on that one. Nah. Speak on Craig Hope. I don't really even feel the need to, brother. It's tiring at this point. We already know how the old media is. When I see Daily Mail, The Sun, all these things in the bio, I just keep it moving, bro. I'll be real. If I see these apps, if I see these platforms, these newspapers that no one reads newspapers anymore. Now they've become online articles, publications. If I see these things, I just keep it moving. When you see that at, you know what time it is. Yeah. Daily Star, Daily Mail, this and that. You know what it is. At this point, you know what it is. So, yeah, it's unfortunate that this is what it is, but it is what it is as well. I don't wanna give this guy too much more attention because I feel like that is exactly why that type of stuff comes out, is the attention. The attention is you monetize attention. We know this, right? You monetize attention. So the more attention, the more monetization. If that article goes up and nobody clicks on it, trust that article never goes out again because nobody clicked. So why would they redo the story? Why would they do a similar story? Nobody clicked. Nobody clicked. Nobody paid for the subscription. Nobody read. Nobody cares. In terms of, we know it's a shit article, so we're not going to read. But yeah, that's not how it works. Unfortunately, it's tough. Who playing for Fana against Barca or Arsenal? Good question again. That's a good question. That's a good question. I assume by next weekend Arsenal will have Gyökeres back, but I don't know. I don't think I mind too much, bro. Actually, with that one, because I do trust Josh. That's the thing. Whatever game Josh doesn't play out of those two, I would play him in the other one. So I actually do trust Josh a lot. So I'd probably just play Josh in the other game. I think Badiashile is more important that he plays both for me, if I'm thinking about it, especially on the ball. Off the ball, if he gets drawn out wide, it can get long. It can, but it can get long for anyone, I think, when they get drawn out wide on the left. Hato's gonna make mistakes, isn't he? He's 19. He's gonna have errors in his game. A centre back. I'm not surprised that he had a bit of a mare at the last attempt, but it is what it is. That's what you get with young defenders at times. But I think Josh I can trust a little bit more. So I want to see Josh for one of them, Fofana for the other. However, that won't happen. It won't be Josh. It will probably be Chalobah or Tosin in one and Fofana in the other. He won't play Josh, I don't think, either of those 2 games. He won't start him. So, it is what it is. Yeah. That's just a prediction. That's just a prediction. All right, cool. So, I think we've covered pretty much nearly everything. So I'm going to wrap up soon. Let me just think now. What else have we not discussed? Let me actually just read out all of our fixtures coming up in the next month, just so we can get a little bit of a grasp for it. Let me see. So, Chelsea away to Burnley, home to Barca, home to Arsenal, away to Leeds, away to Bournemouth, away to Atalanta, home to Everton, away to Cardiff, away to Newcastle, home to Villa, home to Bournemouth again. So we played Bournemouth in the Premier League twice before the end of the year, which is really strange. But before 2026, we would have played Bournemouth in the Premier League twice in the space of about 3 weeks. That is so strange. So weird. And that's the fixture list. Cardiff in the Cup away in Wales. The Champions League is the Champions League. We end with, I think, Paphos Napoli, but that's in the new year. Atalanta away. Barcelona at home. It's not easy. And yeah, the rest of the teams are the teams. Newcastle, Arsenal. Some tough games in there, guys. But there's some winnable games as well. You got to beat Bournemouth. Oh, you know what? Bournemouth is tough as well. Bournemouth away. Bournemouth are playing very, very well. They're 2 points behind us. I know they're 9th. That's all really not that important. We've seen Bournemouth this season. They've been good. So, yeah, it's not easy. Not easy games. And the Christmas period is always our kryptonite. We always do very, very poorly in this period, but we have to play well. Actually, I looked back at it. It always starts around about mid-December, the bad form. You look between the 10th and the 15th. That's where that's where the nonsense starts. 10th, 15th. That's where Chelsea start to fall off in the Christmas period. And it tends to go all the way up until the new year. So whatever the first game is early January, that's the game where it kind of ends, or, you know, that's where it kind of ends, hopefully. But it tends to go through from mid-December to kind of early mid-Jan. That's our time period for stupidness. So we need to try and avoid it at all costs. Who do you want up top when Palmer's back in the 10? That's a good question. I don't know. Because João Pedro is not scoring enough goals, shooting enough shots to just say it's going to be him. I think it has to depend on the form up until when he comes back. Because Delap will also know how to play with Palmer, because Delap has played with Palmer at youth level. And he'll make the runs and he'll shoot and all that. But then João Pedro was playing very well with Cole Palmer in the Club World Cup. So it just depends on the form. I think as a footballer, I'm going to go João Pedro. João Pedro would be my first choice by default, because João Pedro for me is a better footballer. But I think either of them could make it work. Either of them could make it work with Palmer, because Palmer's going to be the playmaker. He's going to create. He's going to play it to them how they want to have it played. So then it's just about these two, just whichever one of them wants to start scoring first. So yeah, I'm not sure. I would probably lean towards Pedro, but only slightly, because I'm trying to be fair. If we're going off form, we can't even really do it because Delap's not being fit. So we can't really judge Delap, and João Pedro is not scoring enough recently. He's not taking enough shots. That might be because Cole Palmer's not there creating the chances. So we have to see how they play. If he keeps playing the way he plays recently with Palmer up there, and he's still in the box, he's still not finding himself in goal scoring, shooting positions, we're still not creating, then it's different. But have to see. You have to. You. I saw a report that Gu might be sacrificed for this Kazakhstan striker that we have coming through next summer. I don't know if it was really that accurate. I don't really understand. I don't really know the journalist that put it out. What I will say is, I know I get onto Gu. I give him a hard time sometimes, but I'm actually starting to feel for him because this brother, as soon as he came into the team, he finally got himself into the team. Delap came back. And now as soon as Delap's back, he gets sent off, but then he's back again. And then Gu, I don't know. I don't know. Look, I don't think he's ever really going to get enough breathing room, to be honest, to play consecutively, consistently, and therefore make his mark. This might be because he's not rated highly enough. It might be because he's not good enough. It might be because he is, but he hasn't got the opportunity. We might never know. We might never find out. This might be like my Leslie Okachuku situation, where I think there was a quality player there. I think there was potential there, but he never got the opportunity. I don't know if Gu's really going to get the opportunity. I don't think he's going to get the opportunity. This position is very, very cutthroat, very high pressurized, very, very big consequences on the league finish and the points tallies. You need someone up there who's ready to bring regular goals. And that tends to be whoever's more experienced at the time. You don't tend to pick the teenager over someone who's had a Premier League full campaign at Ipswich, and then also over someone that's been at Brighton for about 4 years. It's just not likely that he's going to play the games. So there's no Conference League. You know, even Cardiff away, is he going to start? Maybe Cardiff away. That's probably the next time you're going to see Gu start. But outside of that, you're not going to see him starting. You're not going to see him starting. Yeah, Delap did decimate us last season. He did. He did it in a team that were not favourites for that game, played on the break, played in chaos, played on counter, played on transition, played into space. You look back at the goals, you're going to see a lot of scenarios, 1v1, 2v1. We don't have that situation all the time. So he has to show that he can score the goals with us in the low blocks when it's tight, when it's claustrophobic, when there isn't the space, when there isn't the chaos. We also should play the ball probably faster. We should move it about quicker, and we should try to get the ball forward faster for certain players to benefit, but it's not always going to be like that. So this is the test. Can he adapt to the new situation that he's in? Because, yeah, he was giving us problems last season in both games, I remember. And he takes penalties well, you know. So now it's him, João Pedro, Enzo, secondary, James, maybe secondary, Cole Palmer, Estevao, all very good at taking penalties. Got a lot of good penalty takers. Take me to a cup final at Wembley and put me on penalties again. I am ready. With these guys, I'm ready. You know, with the guys that we've got to take penalties, I'm ready to go. I'm definitely ready to go. I got options. Walton's going to Madrid. How many midfielders do Madrid need? They've got Tchouaméni, Camavinga, Valverde, Bellingham, Gulla, the new brother from Argentina. Who's the other one? Ceballos? Is there not someone else? I feel like there's one more guy that I'm missing out. Maybe not. They've got a lot of midfielders. I don't think they're gonna. I don't know. They've been linked with a few different players. Brahim Diaz. That's it, Diaz. That's another one. I knew there was someone else that I was forgetting. That's a lot of midfielders, attacking midfielders. There's a lot of midfielders, bro. I mean, obviously, they're probably going to have to sell someone, but yeah, it's mad. Saying Tchouaméni's overrated. Diaz is meh. They need to do DM. Well, listen, I'm going to wrap up because I need to go and get a few more things done. I need to do quite a few things, actually, before I head to bed. So, yeah, that was a good catch-up. That was good. Tomorrow, we've got the watch-along at 11:30, Burnley away. This is it now. We're back. We're back into the swing of things, man. Hopefully, it's a good starting 11. Hopefully, it's a good team that goes out there. And hopefully, we do a job. Hopefully, there isn't any drama. And we just go out there. It's not going to be easy. I'm sure Burnley are going to make it very difficult. They're going to try and make it ugly, maybe. And it's a 12:30 international break, all those things. I don't know what the weather conditions are going to be. I get it. But at the same time, we got to win. We got to win. So I'm not really even looking for a masterclass and a statement and a big win. I think context with the international break and the time of it all, I get why it's going to be a bit ropey maybe at times, but we need to get it done. I think a good professional, solid job done is what we need to get, what we need to see. Nice little 2-0, something like that. Just professional, manage your game, manage your minutes, manage your fitness, because Barcelona, Arsenal, don't get injured, don't get sent off, don't do anything stupid. And yeah. All right, cool. We're going to wrap up there. Chat, much appreciated as always. This is it. Boys, it's good to be back. Gals, it's good to be back. I will see you guys tomorrow, 11:30, and I'll redirect you there, so we'll be there on time, ready to go. Get back into the swing of things. Dust off the cobwebs. You know, get yourself ready back for Premier League football, because we are back. I can't even put this on over my headphones. Adios, amigos. That's it.